Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever sat in a room full of people and still felt completely alone? Not because nobody liked you. Not because you were being ignored. But because something about the way you see the world just does not match the people sitting right next to you. If that feeling is familiar, stay with me. Because what I am about to share with you is not a motivational speech. This is psychology. And it might be the most accurate thing you have ever heard about yourself. There are 6 specific traits that researchers have identified in people whose minds operate on a fundamentally different level than the average person. And here is what makes this interesting. Most people who have these traits spend their entire lives thinking something is wrong with them, when the truth is the complete opposite. You only need 3 or 4 of these to fit the profile. So, let us get into it. Trait number 1. You recharge alone. And being around people for too long genuinely drains you. Now, I want to be careful here because this is not just about being introverted. This goes deeper than that. When you are surrounded by a crowd for an extended period, it is not just slightly tiring. It is like someone slowly pulling a plug. Your energy does not fade gradually. It collapses. And the moment you finally get away, the moment you close the door and sit in silence, something shifts. Your brain wakes up. Ideas start surfacing. Connections start forming. Thoughts that had no room to breathe suddenly have all the space they need. Neuroscientists have studied this pattern extensively. What they found is that highly complex minds actually require low stimulation environments to reach their deepest level of processing. The noise of social interaction, the performance of conversation, the constant reading of other people's emotions, all of that takes up bandwidth. Serious bandwidth. And when that bandwidth is finally freed up, your brain does not rest. It goes to work. This is why your best ideas never come in meetings. They come in the shower. They come at 2 o'clock in the morning when everything is quiet. They come when you are completely alone. That is not a personality quirk. That is your brain operating exactly the way it was built to. Trait number 2. You cannot stop at the surface of anything. And I mean anything. Most people hear an answer and they move on. You hear an answer and immediately your brain asks the next question. And then the next one. And then the one after that. It does not feel like a choice. It feels like something you genuinely cannot turn off. You obsess over the why behind the why. You need to understand not just what happened, but how and why that way. And what would have changed if one single variable had been different? People around you have probably called this overthinking. They have told you to stop overanalyzing. They have said you need to just accept things and move on. But here is what they do not understand. What they are calling overthinking is actually a sign of an unusually high cognitive drive. Your brain has a lower tolerance for incomplete information than most people. It physically resists stopping before it reaches a full understanding. That can be exhausting, yes. But it is also the same mechanism that produces genuine insight. The kind of insight that most people never reach because they stopped asking questions 3 steps too early. Trait number 3. And this one surprises people when I say it out loud. People sometimes think you are lazy or passive or unmotivated. And if you have ever been told that, I need you to hear this clearly. They are wrong. What is actually happening is something entirely different. You are not lazy. You are selective. There is a significant difference. A lazy person avoids effort. A selective person evaluates whether the effort is worth it before committing. And you do this instinctively. Almost automatically. Before you throw yourself into something, your brain runs a quiet calculation. Is this worth my energy? Does this align with what actually matters to me? Is the outcome worth the cost? And if the answer is no, you do not move. Not because you cannot, but because something in you refuses to spend your most valuable resource on something that does not deserve it. That is not a weakness. That is a form of intelligence that most people spend decades trying to develop. The ability to say no to everything that is not truly worth your yes. Trait number 4. You read people with an accuracy that sometimes scares you. You walk into a room and within minutes, sometimes seconds, you already know. You know who is being real and who is performing. You know who is comfortable and who is quietly falling apart. You know when someone's words and their energy are telling two completely different stories. To read the room completely before you say a single word. While everyone else is reacting, you are watching. While everyone else is speaking, you are processing. And when you finally do respond, it is measured. It is precise. It carries a weight that impulsive reactions never have. Most people spend years, sometimes their entire lives, trying to build this kind of emotional regulation. They read books about it. They go to therapy to develop it. They practice it deliberately. And it still does not come naturally. For you, it has always been the default. That is not something to take lightly. That kind of self-possession, the ability to stay grounded when everything around you is chaotic, is one of the rarest forms of mental strength that exists. So, here is where I want to land. If you recognized yourself in 3, 4, 5, or all 6 of these traits, I want you to sit with something for a moment. Every single one of these things has probably been used against you at some point. Your need for solitude called antisocial. Your depth called overthinking. Your selectivity called laziness. Your ability to read people called paranoia. Your unique interests called weird. Your calm in chaos called cold. And the cruel irony is that the very traits that set you apart, the ones that have quietly made you feel like you do not belong, are the same traits that make you genuinely rare. Not rare in the way people say as a compliment. Rare in the measurable, documented, psychological sense. Your brain processes the world differently, more deeply, more carefully, more completely. And that difference has a cost. The cost of feeling out of place, the cost of being misread, the cost of never quite finding people who operate the way you do. But it also has a value, a real one. And part of that value is simply understanding it. Knowing what you are working with, knowing that the way your mind moves is not a malfunction, it is a design. And once you understand the design, you stop trying to fix what was never broken.